This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Good evening, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for April 28, 2023. And in the news this evening, would-be robber killed by residents in Portland. A would-be robber is dead after residents reportedly set upon and beat him last night. Reports are that the man, whose identity is yet to be ascertained, broke into a home in Hart Hill and proceeded to rob the occupants. The occupants raised an alarm. Upon hearing the commotion, residents went to their assistance and encountered the intruder, who the residents say attacked them. The news was informed that the residents set upon the would-be robber and inflicted several blows. He was restrained while awaiting the arrival of the police. The injured man was handed over to the police, who took him to the Anota Bay Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. 2 key lottery scamming suspects arrested in St. James. 2 suspects considered key players in the illegal lottery scamming industry were taken into custody yesterday morning during joint operations in Montego Bay, St. James. One of the suspects was apprehended in Montego West Village and the other in Granville. A team from the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency and the Lottery Scamming Task Force went to Montego West Village, where the first suspect and a woman were arrested. A laptop, 4 cell phones, and the SIM cards were seized. In the second operation in Granville, the targeted individual was apprehended and the 5 cell phones, a laptop, and the lead sheets were seized. The police say the suspects are expected to be charged shortly. Fact-finding report shows increase in number of Jamaican farm workers who have absconded in Canada. There has been an increase in the number of Jamaican farm workers who have absconded in Canada. This, according to reports from liaison officers to the fact-finding team appointed last year to investigate the conditions of farm workers in Canada under the Seasonal Agricultural Workers Program. Chair of the team, trade unionist Helen Davis White, says figures were provided by the officers that showed that the number of workers running off was on the increase. Speaking with the news this morning, Mrs. Davis White said the problem was most prevalent among new recruits for whom the program did not meet their expectations. Mrs. Davis White says it appeared that those who were absconding were coming from particular constituencies in Jamaica. The fact-finding team recommended in its report to the Ministry of Labor that the political representatives should give more attention to the selection of people for the program. In the meantime, Mrs. Davis White says there were complaints from seasoned farm workers and the farm owners about the poor attitudes and the behaviors of new recruits. She says the team has recommended that the Labor Ministry facilitate ongoing skills training for prospective farm workers through Hart NSTA Trust and other institutions. Indicom probing clash between inmates and police officers at a Bethel town lockup. The Westmoreland Police is to launch a probe into how detainees at the Bethel town lockup obtained weapons and other illicit items. At least 2 police officers were stabbed on Wednesday when they attempted to search the lockup for contraband. Head of the Westmoreland Police Senior Superintendent Wayne Josephs says he will be ensuring that complicit police personnel are rooted out. Senior Superintendent Josephs has defended the actions of lawmen during the clash with detainees at the Betheltown Police Lockup. SSP Joseph says the police officers were attacked when they attempted to conduct a search of the lockup to confiscate contraband. In the meantime, the Independent Commission of Investigations has launched a probe into the incident at the Betheltown Lockup. Director of Complaints for the Western Division of Indicom, Errol Chatu, says the presence of contraband in lockups is of serious concern.
I believe that these things must have come in there because by deliberate action of police officers or inaction. It's either it has been taken in there or because of their tardiness in not searching these prisoners properly when they are coming from court, when they go out there, or when food and so on are brought into the lockups. So I am dealing with that issue, and I want to send a sound warning if there are police officers doing this, that I will not stop until they find themselves also behind bars with these prisoners.
Antoinette Horton Cardenas, former Firebrand talk show host, has died. Horton Cardenas died Friday morning in the United States, where she had resided for over 15 years. The news understands that Horton Cardenas had been ailing for some time with an undisclosed illness. She was 67. Horton Cardenas shot to national prominence in the 1990s as a Firebrand talk show host who championed the rights of the deprived. She gained more popularity in the early 2000s as a co-founder of a third political party, the now defunct United People's Party, and as one of the founders of the first Women's March in Halfway Tree. However, she found herself in legal troubles after being accused of stealing millions of dollars from some of her clients. In 2009, the General Legal Counsel, acting upon a recommendation by its disciplinary committee, struck her from the role of attorneys allowed to do legal work in Jamaica. The disgraced lawyer jumped bail, failed to pay the sum owing, and fled the island. Horton Cardenas was born in quiet Islington, St. Mary, to parents who were active in both community and politics. Her father was the late Kenneth Horton, who was the youngest counsel for the Islington Division and held various positions, including president of the Jamaica Cane Farmers Association and the Jamaica Banana Board. Horton Cardenas was the wife of former Cuban ambassador to Jamaica, Oswaldo Cardenas. She is survived by a son and 3 brothers. Maroons are calling for opportunity to voice their concerns about work of Constitutional Reform Committee. Representatives from the Occompong Maroons are calling for an opportunity to voice their concerns in relation to the ongoing work of the Constitutional Reform Committee. The committee has started its deliberations and has embarked on a series of town halls to boost the public involvement in the process. Speaking with the news yesterday, Chief of the Occompong Maroons, Colonel Richard Curry, said the concerns of the Maroons and other indigenous people require greater introspection compared with the rest of the population. Colonel Curry says he has contacted the co-chair of the committee, Legal and Constitutional Affairs Minister Marlene Malhou-Fort, to facilitate a meeting with the committee. In the meantime, Ambassador Plenipotentiary for the state of Occompong, Anutafari Zion L., says the Occompong Maroons do not have a clear understanding of the direction of the constitutional reform process. He says historically, relations between the central government and the Maroons have sometimes been strained. Last year, the Occompong Maroons and the Jamaican government had several disputes over the boundaries of the cockpit country, the Maroons' ancestral lands, and the question of Maroon sovereignty in relation to the Jamaican state. The Maroon ambassador notes that some of these issues remain unresolved. As it relates to the work of the Constitutional Reform Committee, he says there are similarities to 1962 when the Constitution was being crafted and the views of the Maroons were not considered. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.